Oh, what a fire game! First scalp of the day. What are we joining for? You're joining for some scalps today. We're playing an FM. This is it. This is time. 1,000 players are playing right now. Wow. My opponent is going to be aborting this, it looks like. Bro's always eating something. What's up, Pablo? Didn't even need to look at the username. I know that's my boy Pablo right there. Brody is, okay, let's do F4. Okay. Just gonna use my time advantage here. Revive me pawn. Let's go h4. Solidify this knight, and if f6 ever, we will take and open up here.
Nice.
It's interesting, right? Everything's paralyzed here. I think g6, right, to do this. But I have, no, I have checks in this. I'm threatening this and this, I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, like f5 looks really nice. So on check, bishop here takes, and knight moves, and everything's defended. Which I don't like, obviously. Start with an f5 appetizer here. Oh, this looks like mate. Ooh. Here. Wait a second. If king here, I probably have e7. e6 is a... Hi, chess god. What's up, Victor? How you doing? Arena Kings and Arena Kings, you gotta move. You gotta move, you know? Pray Boys, thank you so much for the sub with Prime. I appreciate it so much. Oh, this is winning. Oh, this is very winning. Wait, what was it? Check. King here is forced. Check. King here is forced and mate. And on king here, it's even better. Oh, what a fire game! And we're back in the 2300 range. Oh my goodness. Oh, what a fire game! And we're back in the 2300 range. Brethren, that was crazy. Hey everyone, I'm in a hotel room, so let's talk about this game. First of all, very dubious game. You'll see that the combinations I played are not as glamorous as they showed in the game, and this is why we have this segment. This is why we go in depth to analyze these games, because we learn more, essentially. So I go e4, c6, and now d4. This is known as the Carlsen, but this is known as garbage. No, but seriously, a6 I've never seen before. And it's probably a very subtle sub of the sub variation, which, you know, I felt inclined to punish because it's kind of disrespectful. So I played f4 and just engaged in an all frontal attack here. h5, knight f3 development, and bishop d3. Here I'm just playing against a normal type of looking Carlsen, while my opponent is setting up some kind of, I don't even know what this is. It's kind of looking like some French defense stuff with knight h6, knight f5 things, but at the same time, it's not at all a French defense because of this c6 pawn. So, and this a6 pawn is not really a custom of that opening. But anyways, bishop f5, I go c3, queen c8, a mistake by the computer. They just prefer e6 and rather taking back with this knight here. There's no real reason why you should move your queen in the opening before having developed everything in the opening, and then a second time after taking back this bishop. So a bit of overplay by black, and so now I castle and takes. Queen f5 settles in, attempts to trade queens, and I don't trade queens here because this would allow black to essentially have a very nice knight on f5 in what is probably a favorable ending. With the French defense or these structures with the Carlsen too, you have some very favorable endings for the black pieces, and this can be scary for white, who has a lot of space but maybe overtook too much. So queen e2 I played, and now a5. a5, I don't know why this was. Maybe a knight a6 thing, I have no idea. So I just go knight a3. And the engine is saying this is a miss. A miss is a new move that I think chess.com beta has set for us here in this club in chess.com. You have to sign up. If you want, I have a link in the description for you. It's completely free. But yeah, they want me to go knight g5. Knight g5 has two purposes, two of which I really like. Here I'm threatening to take on h5, right? Cut off the queen defending on h5 and also open up my own queen, but also I threaten e6. And e6, in case you don't know, this is the perfect time to learn it. e6 is the perfect move to play as white to jam up the black pieces in a Carlsen. Just for example, let's say they let me play it. I go e6, takes, knight takes, and look at this bishop. How is it going to develop? I don't know. How is this pawn going to move? I don't know. How is this king going to castle? Can't go this way. My knight's taking up d8. So we have really no idea here. And so the white pieces remain supreme while even themselves being down development. So here I play knight a3, a common kind of maneuver with the white pieces. You go knight c2, knight e3, just to reignite this knight because I didn't see a future of this knight on d2. So it's important to plan for the long term of your pieces and see what they're going to do against the opponent. So here I really wanted to revive this knight to e3 to play f5 eventually and storm these pawns onto the black king. So e6, knight c2, and now queen h7. Again, queen h7, dubious move. It's not usually a move that you see once in a game, let alone twice in a game. So we'll see it later. That's what I'm saying. So knight g5, it's just letting me in on g5 with the tempo on this queen. I will take that 10 times out of 10. And it kind of forces queen g6, which defends h5. Actually, you could have played queen f5 here because if I take, you have takes on c2. So, okay, queen g6, h4, a mistake. This is a mistake. Not acknowledging what happened in the game, this just creates a weakness for me because after knight f5, this pawn is hard to defend. I need a full queen to defend this pawn, and I cannot just play a g3 move, which would be a blunder. So knight f5 also threatens knight g3. So I'm defending two birds with one stone on f2, and then this lets in for the tactic. I had seen this in the game, thankfully. So knight takes h4, I take, and queen takes c2. The reason why I wasn't scared about this, and the reason why I actually felt good about this, is because I am losing a pawn. On paper, I'm losing a pawn, but on the actual position, I gain something very important. Now, I manage to decoy this queen off of g6 so that now this king side is left with less defenders than it would have with the queen on g6, which was defending f7, defending e6. So I saw an opportunity here. Now, I didn't play the most precise moves in the next two moves, which is why it's so interesting, because I missed a lot, even though I had success with this position and how I played it. So I went knight takes f7. And the reason why this is a blunder is simply because there is something that was so much better. Like knight takes f7 works, it's plus 1.33, which means the white pieces, despite the sacrifice, are up a pawn after all is said and done. But I had something that was plus 3, and if you let the engine run, it goes plus 4, and then, edges plus 5. And that move is f5. f5 is just an accelerator of this position and of this attack. It inclines to open up the e6 square, and really, by extension of that, open up the king. So let's say we're pressuring e6. You can't defend this unless you take this pawn. And once you take it, I have e6. And this is a troublemaker move. Here, you're opening up the king. And if you decide to be stubborn, once again, you play f6. You close my pawn on your king like this. You do not open up the file, because here I would have queen e1. And good luck defending this. So here, let's say you're stubborn with f6. I go knight f7. And it's not like a crazy fork, winning a queen, or forking a king and a queen, or forking a king and a rook. No. It's just a tempo move that's forcing a very valuable piece, forcing it to move, let's say rook h7. And now, going on this theme of attacking for squares and not for pieces, you'll see one of the most beautiful and subtle moves you've ever seen all day. You've ever seen all day, which is queen g3. Queen g3 here is a move that targets specific square weaknesses, not piece weaknesses, which is a different sublet of theme in chess. And queen g3 is threatening c7 square and threatening the square on g6, which means it's pretty impossible to defend both of these open squares in just one move. Let's say black tries to defend the g6 square, right? So they'll go f4 first. Here you have bishop takes f4, and now you're attacking this knight. This is very strong. Let's say the knight moves to a6, the only possible square for this knight, and now you have a rook ae1. And although you're down 2 pawns, the black pieces are near over with. This rook is passive as the Pacific Ocean. This bishop is terrible. Where is it going to go? To e6? To e7, sorry. No. This king can't castle. That's a common theme in this game. And this rook is not seeing the light of day anytime soon. By light of day, I mean the open file. This knight is also out of play and cannot connect to the play at all. Just completely jammed on a6. And this queen is just fighting on its own. And so here, black have very limited resources. Let's say bishop e7, a move that we talked about earlier. We just have rook f2. Okay, the queen moves to f5. And now we have bishop d6, just putting pressure on this position and finding a loophole, which is very easy to do here. Okay, let's say h4, attacking our queen. Queen h2, we keep the trend on this diagonal. Also realizing that we hit the queen. So now the queen needs to move. Let's say queen g4, and we just go bishop takes e7. The king can take back, but we've opened up this d6 square for queen takes d6, queen d6 check, king e8, and now we have check, king here, e7, ow, e8 queen, rook takes, and then rook takes with checkmate. Let's say here another variation, you just defend with knight a6. Well, I have some news for you. g6 is such a nice square. You attack this rook, which, okay, cannot be defended, but that's not it. You're threatening something that's much more beautiful. Let's say you play knight c7, bringing your knight back into play. We have the most patient move instead of taking this rook. It's bishop f4, attacking this knight. And if you try to defend, well, then this just settles in for knight d6. And now this double check, we've waited patiently, comes with a defended knight, which is a big game changer. Because on king e7, attacking this knight, now it's defended, we have check and mate. And if you would have done this just sooner, this would not have been the same because the king can cannot take. What is this? Is it just mate? Oh, the king goes to d8. Aha! King goes to d8, queen f7 threatens mate, and now knight takes e6 is a possible sacrifice, and there's just no mate here, but it's very winning for the white pieces. So as we saw, f5 accelerates the attack and is what I should play. So I played knight takes f7, which is perhaps even quicker, but it's too quick. Here, black have a phenomenal resource, which is h4, and it's really, really crazy. I'm just not there in time. Let's say I go with the same plan as in the game, f5. Here, black have h3. And now the tables have turned. I have to defend g2. And so what do I do? Okay, let's say I play rook f2. Now there's h2 check, which forces, well, if I go to f1, there's mate on h1 GG's. So forces my king here, and now this is just checkmate in 2 moves. This doesn't work, right? Okay, can I take? Well, now rook takes, and another piece is into the attack, this rook this time, and threatening mate on h2. It's not looking good, Brev. Rook f2, and now queen d1 check. If the king goes up, it's checkmate on h1. And if the rook goes here, we have queen g4, king f2, and now check, king e1, and checkmate on e2. So this explains my second mistake, queen d8, which is premature. I should have done, once again, f5, which accelerates the attack. And this time, queen d8 does not interfere into this resource h4, h3, because we have e6 on time. On time meaning it's check, and we get the goods first. If the king goes back, we still have this. There's no h3 because we essentially have checkmate with a double queen here. And so this is over, just to put it fairly. So good thing that my opponent blundered. They got worried and they played a ridiculous move, queen h7. Maybe even queen f5 is not bad. I mean, queen f5, you're at least blocking in me trying to get a second piece into the attack, the rook, right? If black lets this rook in, I have 2 pieces in the attack, and it's pretty much over, as you saw in the game. And so that's what happened with f5. That's the idea of f5. That's why we sacrifice a pawn on f5. Because white are so desperate to find a second attacking piece, which is the rook. It doesn't look like it because we're not opening up the f file per se, but we're opening up the e file. And if you just go hide with king g8, now we have a queen and pawn working together, which is so strong here, e7. And you cannot defend this bishop unless you give a ton of material. Here, after even knight there, we have queen, which is super cheeky, because we have 2 queens, and okay, I'm sacking a queen, but not really. I just moved my queen 1 square, and now we have checkmate on e6, which is beautiful. And so if the king takes, which happened in the game, we have rook e1 check, and now you see the coalescence. I don't know if that's a word, we'll see. The coalescence, the chemistry between my 2 pieces here with check, and now I'm looking for a way to combine both pieces and make them one, which is a super piece, you could say, and I find queen e8, where the queen is defended by this rook, and this just combines for a supreme piece. If the king goes up to f6, we have queen e6 checkmate because this bishop takes up g5. And if the king goes to g8, well, we have this amazing checkmate on e6. And that is the game against Freddy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and see you for next video.